It's been a quarter century since the aliens first struck. Nearly half that since they returned. 25 years of non-stop war. I can't count the people we've lost. The world's enslaved, or the system slaughtered. A torrent of dying that continued until we built our great fortresses. Behind our wall, we worked tirelessly for years. We reorganized, we rebuilt, and we reprioritized. A mighty new force destined to exterminate our enemies and rule all that remains. So our leaders would have us believe. Now there is dissension amongst us. Many fear we will go too far, and that war is dragged on long enough. We seek another way. We seek diplomacy.
Well, hello and welcome to a new Let's Play starring me, L1011 Widebody, and today we're going to be playing a real-time science fiction strategy game called Sins of a Solar Empire from Stardock Entertainment. It's a relatively new game, and we're going to be playing the Trinity package, which is the original game Sins of a Solar Empire, plus the Entrenchment and Diplomacy expansions, as you saw in the opening cinematic, which add a lot of new features to it. And it's a rather large game as far as real-time strategy goes, but if you're familiar with the sort of science fiction genre, it's relatively easy to jump into. And a lot of things will seem familiar right away. You know, if you're familiar with, like, sort of Star Wars or Battlestar Galactica or Star Trek, you'll kind of be able to pick up the way things work, which is nice. It feels, you know, familiar, but it doesn't feel like it's exactly copying anything. So here's our main menu. We've got a couple of different options. We've got single player. We've got multiplayer, we've got Ironclad Online, which is some sort of online collaborative multiplayer thingy. Lots of options. Check for updates, and then down here you can play the original version or the Entrenchment expansion by itself. And we're just going to go right into a single player game. One of the unusual things about Sins of a Solar Empire is that there is no single player campaign. It's all just skirmishes, which is kind of unusual, and has been one of the main complaints about it, is that it doesn't really exactly draw you into the larger conflict because there's no storyline to it. But you know, it's something that I think they should address, but in the end, we all just end up going to skirmish games anyway. So there's a number of tutorials, all kinds of different things that to help you through them. They're sort of guided, but unfortunately there's not a lot of voice work in them. New game, load game, you can watch game. There's all kinds of player options you can tinker with. You can set your logo and your color. There's a lot of map designer options that I'm not going to get into, and then it tracks your achievements like just about every game that's come out in the past 15 years. We're just going to go ahead with a small scenario today, just using a random small generated map. Let's go ahead and play. So here are our player selections. So we've got me, and we're going to face off against a normal random enemy. So there's 3 different races that you can choose from. There's the TEC, which are the Terran, which are kind of middle of the road, sort of, as far as picking up, you know, it's sort of the basic kind of units and everything. And then there's the Advent and the Visari, which I'm not quite as familiar with because I've only recently picked up this game and there's still a lot to learn, so I'm just going to stay with the TEC for now. You can set teams for each one, and using this you can set the different kind of personalities for each computer opponent, and you can set their colors and their different things like that. So there's a lot of customizability options and there's a lot of difficulty options. But we're just going to play on normal random just for the demonstration purposes today, and I'm going to be playing as the TEC. I'm going to go into game options here. You can have large, small, normal fleet sizes. That's sort of like your population limit. Pirates active or inactive. Diplomatic victory, which I'm not exactly sure works. How it works, rather. Normal quick start, and then you can sort of tinker with these rates of income and build if you wanted to quicken up or slow down the game in certain aspects, but I usually just leave those normal. And let's just go ahead and go right into it. There's my fancy guy here. He's wearing his spiffy naval uniform there. Pirate raiders and local militia favor colony ships as targets, so be careful when bringing one into a contested system. Okay, so here's the main menu, or the main map. So here's our starting planet, Giada, and here's the sun. And one of the nice features about Sins of a Solar Empire is that you can zoom out all the way and then zoom all the way back in right down to the very detail level of your ships here. It's a nice seamless game engine. You can zoom all the way in and out like that and just take a look at your ships. There's nice backgrounds and everything. But we can't spend too much time admiring it. We have to start getting to work. First thing that I always do is build a capital ship factory, because when you start a new game of Sins of a Solar Empire, the first capital ship is always given to you free. As you can see, the cost is 0. So there's 5 basic types of capital ships. It's a battleship, there's a carrier, 2 types of battle cruisers which have different support abilities, and a dreadnought which is used for planetary bombardment. So first I'm going to take the Akin battle cruiser, which has the colonize ability, which will be important for colonizing enemy worlds. We'll go ahead and start building that. And one of the nice features of Sins of a Solar Empire is that you can actually start building units from a factory before the factory is completed. So you can see it's queued up here. And once the factory is completed, then it will start building, so you don't have to sit around waiting for things to finish building, which is nice. You can sort of get all your thoughts in a line ahead of time. Let's go ahead and start building some extractors. And as you can see, our little construction frigate here will go out to our little asteroids and start building extractors to start harvesting resources for us. So most gravity wells will have some kind of resource asteroids in them.
Structure complete.
This one has 2 metal asteroids and a crystal asteroid. So there's 3 types of resources in this game. There's credits, which is like money, metal, which is your main sort of regular, resource, and crystal, which is kind of the secondary resource as far as more exciting things. And you need a balance of both of those in order to do most of the things that you want to do. let's go ahead and start building some scout frigates so we can scout out the surrounding areas. The way gravity well transportation works in this game is that each gravity well has one phase lane to each other, like this, and that's the only way that you can travel from one to another. So that kind of takes the surprise out of it, but
if it's out there, I'll find it.
It also allows you to have sort of choke points that you can have, which is a little different.
We're underway.
So let's tell our scout frigates
I'm already there
to start scouting.
On my way.
And you can select all your ships in a system right up here in the tree up here. So you can see here's our battlecruiser, which has been completed.
Where do you need me?
And some battlecruisers have the ability to carry strike craft. This is one of them, so we'll assign a bomber squadron to him. And we can also have some abilities. We'll give him the colonize ability.
Scouts have found a colonizable planet.
And it looks like we've found some colonizable planets here.
What do you need to know?
This scout frigate and set him to auto explore.
What do you need to know?
By right-clicking on AutoCast Explorer. And you can pretty much control all your fleet's abilities just from the tree in here, which is kind of nice.
Colonizable planet.
And it looks like this one is another. This one is an
ice
ice world.
How can I be of service?
So there's a number of different planet types that you will encounter in Sins of Solar Empire, and looks like this is a good example of all of them. Our homeworld here is a Terran planet, which is pretty balanced and the best types of planets. There's also ice planets like this one, and volcanic planets like this one. Ice planets, you have to research Arctic exploitation in order to colonize them, and volcanic planets, you have to research volcanic exploitation to
a sound plan
to colonize them. Ice planets tend to have more crystal asteroids, and volcanic planets tend to have more metal asteroids. But over the course of the game, you'll find they'll be sort of pretty much interchangeable. So we're going to have our battlecruiser go into this asteroid here, because we don't need to research anything to take over an asteroid, and we're just going to have him conquer this asteroid and set up a colony on it. Well, we have our scouts continue to scout out the surrounding systems.
Scouts have found a colonizable planet.
So generally, the more valuable a planet is, and the more asteroids it has, the more militia forces it'll have, which is what these gray guys are. They're sort of like neutral defenders.
Phase jump complete.
So you can see on just this regular old boring asteroid, there's only two of them. There's a siege frigate and a light frigate.
Secure the passengers.
Whereas with this lava planet, there's a whole mess of them, different kinds. And in the default game, the militia units are always of the TEC type ships.
Our fleet is under attack.
So you'll always encounter the same kind. And right here, there's a siege frigate, and we're going to have our battlecruiser attack him first. The siege frigate can be used is the only frigate type that can bombard a colony on a planet. So as soon as we disable him, we can go ahead and colonize this planet freely, because this light frigate here won't be able to attack our colony. and that'll save us some time. Because early in the game, that's the key to getting everything set up is as quickly as possible. And of course, capital ships are the best types of ships, so he's pretty much walloping this siege frigate, and the bomber squadron is taking care of everything. He's exploded now. We'll go ahead and tell him to colonize this asteroid, and then we will have a new colony. Let's go ahead and start building some research stations. Let's build 2 civic research stations. And the way research works is that the number of research stations define how far up in the tech tree you can get. So,
a new colony has been founded.
If you're familiar with the civilization type games, you should be pretty familiar with the research type tree here. So there's military, which is sort of your offensive abilities, defense, which is your defensive abilities, civilian, and diplomacy, which are your civilian, and this is sort of like you're interacting with other races' ability, which would be more useful on a map with more than one enemy player. So we're not going to be too involved with this right now. Right now what we want to do is that we have, and you can see when we hover over this volcanic exploitation, requires 2 civic research stations, which we now have built. So we can go ahead and research that, and that will give us the volcanic exploitation research ability, and then we can start taking over these volcanic planets.
Where do you need me?
We'll go ahead and send our battle cruiser down here and start battling here. So it looks like this Terran planet will be a good choke point where we can sort of make a defensive stronghold for any enemy encouragement into our territory here.
Complete.
You can see both of our civic research stations have been completed. If we hover our mouse over research, we can see our
all hands prepare
percentage steadily increasing. So let's take a look at the main menu now that we've got a little bit of time. There's the search box where you can search for, you can select all your capital ships and select all your scout ships, which can be very useful when you have lots of planets and lots of ships cruising around. Menu is the main menu, obviously.
Preparing for phase
Zoom to cursor is, I don't know what that is. Oh, that affects when you zoom in with the mouse wheel, it zooms into where the cursor is pointed. Here is our diplomacy window. When we select ourselves, this is kind of like our showing which where we are in terms of standings with the other races. And this is where we would offer missions and ceasefire treaties to the other races, but since there's only one in this game, we won't really be getting into that much.
Scouts have found a colonizable planet.
There's another relationship window. This is sort of how everybody views everybody else. You can see it's negative, so that means we're pretty much at war and will always be. Here's the research window, as I've already mentioned.
Research complete.
And here's the criminal underground. And this is the black market where you can sell and buy various resources. If you want to buy more crystal. And all those transactions are conducted in credits, so you can sort of get whichever resource you need at the time, but it's always more efficient to get your own resources. And then here is the pirate window.
Scouts have found a colonizable planet.
And the way pirates work is whoever has the most bounty upon them when this timer reaches 0, that's who the pirates are going to attack. So, let's go ahead and pay some bounty against this Solundi guy, and hope that the pirates will go attack him instead of attacking us, because we're not really ready yet.
Preparing for phase jump.
And then over here we have, this is our available capital ships. We have 0 capital ship crews available. We'll have to research more capital ship crews. This is our fleet supply, which is sort of like our population cap. This is our credits, and this breaks down where all our credits are coming from. And you can see that the planet Artemis is in red, which means that it's using credits instead of creating credits. And that's because when planets are originally colonized, they don't have any infrastructure around them, and that represents like having to continue resupplying them and helping them to stand up on their own. And a good way to fix that is to go to Develop Planet and click on Civilian Infrastructure, and we'll go ahead and get rid of that underdevelopment rate, and then this planet will increase our abilities. Looks like here is the pirate base here. You can tell because it's got like the skull and crossbones and whatever. Here is, this breaks down where our metal is coming from and where our crystal is coming from. And fleet upkeep is like the maintenance cost for when you start getting a larger fleet. You have more maintenance costs.
Planet development finished.
So planet development on Artemis is finished, and now we can see that our income is now 0.3 in the positive direction instead of negative. And as you heard, pirates are imminent, and it looks like they're going to be attacking this guy. We have no bounty against us. That can be more difficult when there's lots and lots of players and lots of bounty being tossed around.
Where do you need me?
It looks like our battle cruiser has taken care of this planet. Let's go ahead and have him colonize it.
Plan.
Pirate raiders are on the loose.
So you can see the pirate countdown reset, and this sword indicates who they're attacking, and that means they're attacking the other players, this Solundi guy, instead of us, which is good for now. Let's go ahead and colonize this planet. Planet Prieska has been colonized.
Where do you need me?
So, as capital ship crews gain experience from destroying enemy ships, they increase in abilities, and now we have 1 unspent ability point, which we can use to upgrade, buy various upgrades. We're going to buy the Ion Bolt upgrade. There we go. So there's different upgrades that you can have. Colonize, Ion Bolt, targeting uplink, and Armistice, and those are different for each capital ship, obviously. Each ship has different abilities. And you can get different levels in each of those abilities, and they increase their effectiveness.
A sound plan.
So let's go ahead and send him to this volcanic planet. We can start sort of claiming our corner of the solar system here. Let's go ahead and start researching some things.
Structure complete.
One of the good early researches is Orbital Commerce, which will allow us to build
There is
trade
no
ports.
further profit in attacking an empire.
And trade ports are important because you can build one at each of your gravity wells and they'll start to accumulate income with little automated trade ships that'll go from system to system, or planet to planet as it may be, and they generate additional income.
Colonizable planet.
It looks like we haven't found the enemy planets yet.
All hands, prepare
Here's a
for
plasma
phase
storm.
jump.
There are some gravity wells that aren't colonizable, and plasma storms are one of them. The plasma storm is, I
Structure
believe
complete.
it
Phase jump complete.
keeps you from being able to launch strike craft inside of its gravity well, so you can only use the ship's guns and stuff.
Secure the passengers.
So there's all kinds of ships going on here. Let's go ahead and start researching some more. Go to Fleet Logistics and research some improvements to our fleet. We'll increase our fleet supply. So this top side is how many capital ship crews you can have. So we have 1 capital ship crew right now, and we're going to upgrade to 2.
Research complete.
And this one is your supply and upkeep. So we have 100 supply, which means, and each ship takes a certain amount of supply from it. And once you're out of supply, you can't have any more ships. So we want to increase that so we can have more ships. Looks like we're getting ganged up on here.
Capital ship shields are down.
Ahead slow. Brace for combat.
Scouts have found a colonizable planet.
Well, it looks like there's some pirate ships going after the other guys. That'll keep them busy for a while. And there's one of their capital ships, one of the enemy capital ships. Is attacking one of the pirate
Research
ships.
complete.
So that'll keep them occupied for a while and allow us to expand further in our section of the solar system. So as you can see here, our ship is taking some damage. The shields will automatically
Scouts have found a
replenish,
colonizable planet.
and the hull will also repair itself at a slower rate. But we've got a lot of hit points compared to just these little frigates. So we should be able to outlast them, but you don't want to make a habit of taking a lot of damage in your battles. Let's see. Let's go ahead and start queuing up another capital ship. You see our capital ships are at -1, which means that
Scouts have found a colonizable
we've got
planet.
one queued up while we're waiting to research, and now we've researched basic officer training, so now that goes to 0, which means we're using up all our capital ship crews. There's 2 ways to colonize planets. You can either colonize them with a capital ship, like the Akin class battlecruiser, which has a colonizability, or you can build colony frigates, like this one, the Protev colony frigate. We're going to go ahead and build one of those, so we can colonize these other worlds while we're colonizing ahead.
Capital ship shields are down.
But the advantage to using colony capital ships is that you get bonuses for colonizing planets with them, as well as capital ships replenish their antimatter at a faster rate so you can
Carrier at the ready.
move ahead further. But for instance, the TEC
Standing by.
battlecruiser has the added ability of being able
New
to
horizons await.
it gives you free extractors on worlds that you colonize with it,
Colonizable planet.
which means you don't have to pay for them, and anything that's free is good. So here's our carrier. We're going to build some bomber squadrons for them. Bombers are good against frigates and cruisers and other capital ships. Fighters are good against bombers and are moderately good against other things. But here in the early game we mostly are concerned with bombers because we're not going to worry about fighting other fighter craft until we encounter the other enemy that can build them. So let's look at the carrier abilities. They have missile batteries, which deploys a stationary weapons platform that attacks enemies within the area for a brief time, which is very nice. Embargo, which steals income from the planet's productions and slows constructions of ships and structures, and I've not used that one that much.
Phase
Heavy
jump
strike
on
craft,
mark.
which increases your ability, your friendly strike craft to cause damage, and rapid manufacturing, which increases the build rate
Phase
when
jump
you lose
complete.
strike craft, because carriers will automatically rebuild strike craft without having to pay for them. So we're building them right now. We'll tell him to attack this
Launch the
siege
alert
frigate.
fighters.
And carriers tend to be the most
How can I be of
useful
service?
capital ships, especially during the early game. And when you get lots and lots of bombers and lots of upgraded bombers, when you upgrade them in the research tab, they become
Capital
even more
ship shields
effective.
are down.
So our battlecruiser is taking a lot of damage. But he's got another ability point, so we're going to put that into colonize, and you can see here we'll go from free extractors 1 to 2 when we upgrade from colonize ability 1 to 2. So that means we'll get 2 free extractors when we colonize with
Our
this
capital
frigate,
ship has been heavily damaged.
which is good news. How is our carrier doing? He's doing pretty well. So the Lrm Frigate is the highest damage dealing frigate, but they're very sort of fragile. It's kind of like artillery, they have a long range. So we want to try and take those out pretty early, because when they gang up on you, then it can be a problem. But first we're going to take out this siege frigate.
Bomber wing reporting. We're coming in hot.
And if you hold down the Alt key when you
Go
select
ahead, TACCOM.
like a bomber
Bomber
wing,
wing
it selects
reporting.
all the types of all the same type. So we could select
Copy
all our
that,
bombers at
TACCOM.
the same time and tell them all to attack. Which we just did. So now that all the siege weapons
where to,
are
Commander?
destroyed, let's take our colony frigate and tell him to
Deploying.
colonize this planet, because then the remaining frigates won't be able to attack our new colony. Looks like this battle is almost done. So let's start upgrading our planets while we're waiting. As you can see, this tax income rate is negative 3.4, so we want to increase our civilian infrastructure to get rid of that penalty. Let's also increase our logistics and tactical capacity. which will give you more slots to be able to build different kinds of buildings. So each different kind of planet has a different number of logistics or tactical spots. And logistics spots are like these research labs, trade ports, broadcast center, orbital refinery. Let's build a trade port here while we're at it. And tactical structures are like weapons, gauss defense platforms, which are like turrets, hangar defense, which carry small strike craft,
Planet development finished.
Repair
A new
platforms
colony
to
has been
repair
founded.
friendly ships, phase jump inhibitors, which slow down
Scouts have found
enemy
a
ships
colonizable planet.
jumping out of the system, and super weapons, minefields, stuff like that. So it looks like we've colonized this planet here. Let's tell our colony
Ready for
ship to
orders.
run away.
Deploying.
Oh, a pirate raid is imminent.
The price on our head has increased.
Let's make sure they attack the other guys instead of us, because we're still not ready. So as you can see in this sort of credit breakdown here, these two new lava planets that we've taken over, the volcanic planets, are costing us money. And as you can see, we just upgraded Prieska, so now it's not costing us money. But when you expand quickly, you can quickly run out of money. So let's go ahead and make sure that
Pirate
doesn't
raiders
happen.
are on the loose.
It looks like they're attacking them again. Very good. Looks like the enemy has a scout in our system. Oh, very interesting.
A new colony has been founded.
Here's our new colony, and as you can see, we already own 2 of the asteroids. We already have 2 extractors on them because we colonized it using our colony frigate, and that's the bonus for doing that. We only have to build 1. So let's take our carrier.
Comlink online.
Looks like he has 2 unspent ability points. We'll give him a missile battery and a heavy strike craft.
Reading you loud and clear.
And start finishing up this.
There is no further profit in attacking an empire. Planet development finished.
Build metal extractors. On this one we have to build our own
Ship
because
shields are down.
we used a colony frigate instead.
Structure complete.
So this is the Flak Frigate. The Flak Frigate tends to be good against our friendly bomber squadrons. They're good against strike craft in general, but
Go ahead, TACCOM.
even still, with only 1 of them, it's going to be overwhelmed. And then the Lrm Frigate, as I mentioned earlier. So let's go ahead and
Structure
build a
complete.
military lab on this system. And now we can start researching some military technologies. And one of the first ones I usually like to take is hangar defense. And hangar defense lets you build strike craft hangars, fixed emplacements around your gravity wells, which allow you to have friendly strike craft that will automatically attack enemy ships that enter the gravity well. And it's a little expensive, but I've found that it's a good way to kind of have that extra firepower to slow down enemy incursions, and also to sort of try and keep them from just running around all over your systems, so that you can concentrate on having your fleet at the front lines. So now that all the enemy ships here are destroyed, let's send our carrier to this ice planet and send our battle cruiser to this ice planet, and we'll take over this ice planet. And we need to research Arctic exploitation, which we now have enough credits to do so we can colonize that world. And now that we've got several planets, let's start building up our trade network. We've got lots of excess metal, so I'm going to sell some of that to get more credits.
Phase jump on my mark.
And build a trade port here. So as you can see, since we already have one trade port, we're already starting to gain a little bit of income.
Prepare for phase jump.
1.4 credits per second. And the more trade ports we build on our trade network, the higher that number will get. So more is always better. And the way that number is defined is it's defined by your longest trade routes. So that's what the solid white line between Farah and Prieska is. That's our longest existing trade route. So the longer we can get it, the more trade will generate throughout the whole network, which is good. And it looks like the enemy has a scout here that's kind of screwing around. See if we can kill him before he jumps. Nope, he's gone.
Our fleet is under attack.
Where's our carrier? Oh, there he is. He's on his way over here. So we'll have our carrier and our battle cruiser here to take care of this world. And while we're waiting for that, let's go ahead and make sure all of our planets have a trade port. We'll build one in our asteroid here, Artemis. Let's see, Aurelia doesn't have one.
Structure complete.
Named after the pitcher, perhaps?